In what's shaping up to be our final doubleheader of the season, we conclude our tour of Michigan, hosting the Broncos of Western Michigan, looking to keep our MAC record perfect on the season. And this is a game in which we are very much going to be the favored team. The Broncos have only won one game, and that was 45-14 against an FCS program. Though their closest thing to an FBS win was just last week against New Mexico State in a 14-12 loss. And while it has not been a good year for the Broncos, they do have a couple highlights, including redshirt freshman Tevin Korzak at running back. He could very well be the future of this offense, averaging 4 yards a carry, but they need to get him into the end zone. On defense, they have Sam Stewart, the lurker junior linebacker, and he leads Western Michigan in tackles. He's top 2 in TFLs, leads the team in interceptions, and he's pretty close to being the leader when it comes to sacks. The Broncos also have speed at receiver in Jaden Moore, 94, and 92 with Tyler Johnson. And Johnson does lead them in touchdown receptions as well as yards. Jaden Moore is behind him with 554 and 3 touchdowns. But their third receiver has struggled, just 1 touchdown this year, and leads them in passes dropped. And that's frankly something Mason Reynolds, their starting quarterback, can't afford, only hitting 50% of his throws. Though he does have 11 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. He's also the Broncos' leading carrier, but that might be of poor decisions as he only has 70 speed. And today, Coach Ty is trying to amplify this team's pass rush, which isn't as bad as it has appeared of late. And a lot of thanks has to be given to the redshirt senior transfer defensive tackle in Elijah Fall. He is at double-digit TFLs, and he currently leads this team in sacks. But the biggest problem is that only 3 of our pass rushers have recorded more than 1 sack. The redshirt junior in Roy has only had a half, but he's been great in helping stop the run. Also tied with Fall with 10 TFLs. But looking to help the secondary, we need more rush. And Coach Ty is going to call on the redshirt freshman linebacker in Von Ingold. While he is one of our better coverage men, 79 zone, he is also a really good pass rusher with 82 power moves, 77 finesse. And he's already picked up more sacks this year as a blitzing linebacker than our starting edge rusher. So in pure rush edge situations, Von Ingold will get the start on the left-hand side. And that means for sub linebacker Abu Hamde will be teaming up with Seth McFarland. And we've been calling his name a lot more of recent. Now we are going to sacrifice some coverage ability, going from that 79 zone to 73. But if either Abu Hamde or McFarland need a breather, Ingold will move back to that sub-linebacker. And Jahin Roy will be the primary backup for both edge rushing spots. And we'll have a few weeks to test out this change before postseason action. But here we are, back in Kent and back underway as Hassman takes this return, gets a juke, but will drag 2 defenders for just an extra 2 yards to the 24, where Mason Kelsey, with 20 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions, take the field. And let's not forget, he's also pretty close to double-digit rushing touchdowns as well. As it starts with a triple option here, that quick pitch is out to Smith. He's got the outside with plenty of space, puts a spin move on, and will get by the midfield line. Play 1 goes for 30. And he's looking to hit 1K rushing this season. Tank Hawkins also pretty close to 1K receiving as it's back to Smith. And we'll see if either one of those two can hit that 1K mark sooner rather than later. The check down here, that goes to Coates, the tight end, picking up about 6. And ultimately leaves Kent State here needing 2 more on third. They bring in the power back and the true fullback. Hawkins in motion, they will swing it out to him. He looks to pick up a block downfield. 1 defender closing the angle, and the spin back in to the only man left. Harmon saves the touchdown. That really is a massive tackle for the Broncos. Hawkins averages a little over 22 yards per catch, as they do set up a little bit of some RPO, and both options taken away. Nair Daniels, with that shoulder dragging, will look to make his way to the sideline. This has been a rough season for him in terms of injuries. Did a little bit better last year. As it's a 2nd and 13, they set up the screen. It's out to Smith, looking for that angle, but can't hit the pylon. He's out at the 1 with a 1st and goal. And that puts Mason Kelce over 2K passing this season, with a few more games to go in the regular season. But of course, with the duality to his game, he also likes to run the ball a lot, and that's where some of those passing yards have gone. 1st and goal here. They set up a little bit more RPO. Smith will take it this time, still not into the end zone. A freshman safety and John Apple gets the tackle, leaving 2nd and goal. Back to that triple option, and for the 3rd time will be the charm. Triple option to Smith. That should have him, if I'm not mistaken, at 10 rushing touchdowns this season. Pretty even is the spread of Hawkins, Kelce, and Smith. But it gets the Broncos offense out onto this field. They haven't had any high-scoring games, and they're going to need that here today to keep up with the Golden Flashes. First play is a pass play. It's out to Peralta, and he'll have a nice gain of 8. So it won't be a first play sack on the new starting spot here for Ingold, who is going to be on the outside. Quick RPO action and upended. Johnson flipped almost onto his head. Good news, he came down on his upper back, the rather. That could have been a disastrous hit. The 1st and 10 here, going for the stretch. Ingold, with help of Gill, get the stop on the outside. Ultimately a loss of 1. And Ingold will still very much help out in the run game, as he has been one of the team's best tacklers this season. 2nd and 11, it will be a dump off to the flat, and getting away from 1. Ingold and Scott there to bring him down. And it's great seeing Scott starting to find his role in this team. Started to call his name a lot more of late. 3rd and 13. And throwing this one downfield with a spear from Scott. He breaks it up, and that will be a punt. But as we head in to the following drive, it'll be plus side, as they're back to that quick triple option. Smith trying to get to the outside, and it is close to the 1st down marker. Give credit there to Tank Hawkins, who tried to pick up 2 blocks on that play. Perhaps if he focused more just on 1, might have been that 1st down. We'll hand this one off to Martin. He's got a little bit of space right side, and that'll have us to the quarter break. 7-0 Kent State currently with possession inside the red zone. Meanwhile, just 8 total yards for Western Michigan there in that 1st quarter. It's about what you expected looking at these two teams on paper. That doesn't mean Western Michigan doesn't want to see some bigger plays go their way. We start the 2nd quarter at the 20. It's play action. Rolling. A lofted throw towards the back of the end zone. But somehow too tall for the 6'6" receiver. So 2nd and 10 then. As it is triple option stacked up. But Cush gets the TFL with a loss of 1. Forces now 3rd and 11. And will be a free play here for Kent State. They throw underneath. That's to Tank Hawkins, who will have about half the yardage needed. Still well short, and they'll have a 2nd go with that Cush offside. With that, you can very much change your look up here. So 3rd and 6 now at the 16. You got 2 over to the right-hand side. Hassman to the left. Tries the hard count again. Kelce does not get anyone to jump. As he lofts that one, he might have been past the line anyway. I think he tried to find his tall receiver yet again, but looked his way too late. Didn't have enough height on it. So a couple penalties back and forth, and ultimately field goal unit is out here. Going for the fake. Curtis lofts it, and there goes Coates. Coach Ty stays aggressive here against Western Michigan down inside the red zone. They go with the fake, flipping it to the former soccer player turned kicker. And he delivers a catchable ball to the wide open transfer tight end in Coates. And it wouldn't be long until they'd have another opportunity to go up now 21 points. A quick 3 and out. 26-yard run off the punt, and we are inside scoring range. Not able to get Tank Hawkins out in space there. No gain is how the men in the stripes mark it. Looking for a cutback lane here. There goes Smith down to the 3. And that has him already over 100 yards on the day. And we see Rourke out here again. Not sure what's happening with that rotation, but he's not supposed to be out there as Hassman can't catch it. And I guess it's good occasionally getting Smith a little bit of a breather. Some other guys some opportunities. 2nd and goal at the 3. They've got Tank Hawkins, but it's picked off. The great flow from Stevenson, the main man of this defense, and it's the 3rd interception on the year for Mason Kelsey, and it keeps them from finding that 3-score lead. But the true question coming off of that is, can Reynolds and the Bronco offense take advantage of that interception? They'll start around the 40-yard line and look for that cut in. There's some space, but not able to get away. The freshman Korzak still picks up the 1st down, getting just about 10.5 yards on the play. And they go right back to him. With a quick flow down, it's Gill taking him down in the backfield. And they've got to find a way to make sure they keep getting him some carries here. What a play by Ingold. Just disrupted that screen from the snap. And they did try to find a way to keep Korzak involved there. It was just a great play by the linebacker / now edge rusher. Let him catch it, and they lose 6 yards in the process. So 3rd and 17. Chucking this one downfield into a one-on-one. Broken up Scott. But Von Ingold injured on the play. Will have to make his way to the sideline with the rest of the defense. We'll have to get an update on Ingold as soon as we can. He's a big part of what this team's trying to do in the future here. As Kelsey on the triple option, he'll just get north and pick up the 1st. That'll leave about 2 minutes to go here for Kent State, trying this time to find that 3-score lead. They missed it last time with the interception. Tries a similar throw and carry, and this time has it rumbling to the opposite 40-yard line. Now, these other receivers for Kent State really haven't seen that many targets this year. Primarily, it's been Tank Hawkins through and through. Carrion has been their 2nd option. He went in motion there. They've got a quarterback spy here. A little flip to the outside, Dupree. He'll get credit for the loss on the play rather than Kelsey, who I guess just didn't want to take the hit. That might have been a little bit more of a coaching spot there. As Arnold outside with a good pass. Rumbling to the 10. Tight end 2 with the pop play following a little bit of a weird play. But it has Kent State back here inside the red zone. 3 hands down in the backfield. No receivers out there. A little bit of some play action. Rolling against the pressure. And Kelsey does not get rid of it. Jordan Buckley instead gets credit with the sack. 2nd and 18. They bring out the receivers this time. They do bring that blitz. This one is lofted up for Coates. It's nearly picked off again by Stevenson. Right now, he is keeping Western Michigan in this game. 3rd and long. They do get the screen pass out, but they do not get the one block, and then runs into his own player on what could have been a massive play there for Kent State. But sitting 13 yards out here, you need 12. You went for the fake last time. Do you go for it here? No. Coach Ty will take the 3-score lead, this time via the 3-pointer. And we will take it to the break with that 17-0 scoreline. So a couple little hiccups here and there in the first half, but overall, that game's still very much in hand of Kent State. Joquez Smith over 100 yards rushing, a touchdown on the day. He's averaging 8.6 yards a rush. The fake field goal attempt for a touchdown to Coates helped separate this one, but you got to give it to Stevenson of Western Michigan. He's making plays out there, and for Mason Kelsey, forcing him into a few more mistakes than what we're used to seeing. Over Western Michigan, they've got to figure out their offense. They go 3 and out to start the second half, so we are out here on offense starting close to midfield, with Smith getting the ball again on that quick pitch. He's by the 30, the 20, incoming defender bumps him out at the 8. Once again, we are back inside the 10. Oh, this is a spot of the field where you gotta give Western Michigan some props. They have closed down around this Kent State offense inside the 15. Tank Hawkins will go in motion here. They'll delay and flip it out to him, and no one's going to catch him with that much space on the outside. They dial up the RPO, and Kent State finally gets back into the end zone, in the red zone. But at this point, we're just looking for highlights offensively because the defense has been locked down. No yards so far this second half for Western Michigan with a shot downfield. That's Hassman juking and coming up just short. Nearly a one-play touchdown drive. And I don't think you're going to find any sort of complaints from Hassman finally getting a target. You come out here with the wing back, Smith at the very back. First and 10 is a throw to Martin. They'll get running back 3, a rare touchdown on the season. And for Mason Kelsey, a touchdown to help make up for his interception earlier this game. We are in route here in Kent State, 31-0. And considering Kent State is living in plus side, we might be seeing the backups in the fourth quarter as they snap that ball with 1 second to go on the play clock. Letting this one develop, and finally downfield, carrying with some space. Tried to go airborne. Tank Hawkins recovered. It went through the hands of Stevenson. Western Michigan almost getting lucky there. Seemed like a heat check. Harrion did have a hurdle for a touchdown a couple weeks ago. Not very close that time. Martin looking for a second here today, but just stretches to the 4. With second and goal, they'll keep the look. They do go a little bit of some play action. Kelsey's got to flip the hips. He's got an open target, but only finds the turf. Broncos have gotten a little bit of some pass rush here today. They might need it, but they do not get the tackle. Instead, a quick dump off, and Bailey will have the touchdown. Another rarity here today. Fullback, essentially 2 here with the addition of Dupree. But another one for Terrence Bailey, who's been here since day 1 with Coach Ty, and Mason Kelsey tacking on a little bit of some stat padding. And following that string of touchdowns for the Golden Flash, we will take this one to the fourth quarter with all expectations that we're going to see the second team unit out on the field for both the offense and the defense. And indeed, we do see the backups out on the field here. Starting back at the 22, Western Michigan, can they get something going against the second team unit? Well, by the look of things, they brought in their second team unit as well, leaving a 3rd and 3 here as they will look to go to the air, looking to go downfield. Crowell gives up the catch. What a snag on the sideline. That's the freshman Kevin Nowowski. And for the transfer corner, who many thought would start, maybe that's why he wasn't. But Jones hands off to Matele to follow, and he just gets about 1. Facing an entire new front here for Kent State. Not a single starter still out there. They get a little bit of pressure, but Matele bounces outside and fights hard for another 1. Now, of those out there, we've really only seen Nelson, number 77 at DT. He has rotated in with some injury to the starters. Jones here looking to throw, but overthrows Nowowski. It was by far a better drive here for the Broncos, but they will have to settle for the field goal here. At the 35, it's a 45-yarder right hash, and that one is through. So the goose egg is broken up by both teams' second units coming on out there. Big shout out, though, to the freshman and Kevin Nowowski getting the Broncos downfield. As Kent State takes the field here offensively, Young in the game for the second time this season. We haven't seen anything too special from him, a touchdown and an interception. Oh, he hands the ball off to Bailey, and we have seen a good amount from him over these last few seasons. Looking like a lot of checks here happening early, and Coach Ty is actually going to have to use a timeout. You can see a little bit of the inexperience there from Young with this offense, taking too much time to get set. They set up a screen here. It's to Gaines, who gets outside, and he will rumble for a first down. He's more of this team's backup power back. Played a little bit last year, but didn't see too much from him. It looks like he's going to get the carries here tonight. That'll be 6 more for him on the ground. Setting up 2nd and 4. They snap that ball, set up a receiver screen to Hassman. Well, frankly, there was no blocking in front for him, so he actually loses about 1 or 2 on the play. It's now 3rd and 6 here for Young, who tries that hard count. He's got two spread either side. He faces the stunt up front and throws downfield. Broken up to Rourke. He's been pretty much the only freshman out on the field this season for Kent State. 4th and 6, though, the offense stays on the field. They throw quick. That will be to Hassman by midfield and closing in on the opposite side, 40. They do go hurry up even after that. Trying to see what Young can do here with this backup offense. See if any of them can make some plays, as it is going to be play action. Rolling. And he will throw this one downfield back to Hassman, and it's tipped around. Though not a single Kent State hand touched that ball after Young let it fly. Probably not the best decision. 2nd and 10. Facing the blitz, and he had an open target. I believe that was Carrion coming across. Now, Kent State does only have 4 receivers on roster right now, so really only one has exited the field of play. With another hop of a throw, this time it will be picked off by Young, tossing it to Harris, who tries to grab the ankle. Martin will come over for the tackle. They actually had another receiver wide open going down the left sideline, but Young never saw it with that pressure coming down in on him. So still looks like that second-team quarterback. Still very much a question here for Kent State. They never really have found a true number 2 that fits the scheme for them. The throw checked down. That will be a gain of 8. That was Klein on the reception. And a 2nd and 2 here. Trying to find a touchdown before this game is all but said and done. Metele outside is denied. Stockstill with the tackle, name we haven't called in a little while. Playing a little bit of outside corner. Has primarily played slot corner this year. The 3rd and 2. They hand it off to running back 3. He slips 1, running down the field, and an injury to follow. Looks like one of the backup defensive tackles here for Kent State. Really hate seeing that. This is a prime opportunity to see what some of these young guys can do, and injuries are never good, but especially when it's an opportunity to get some extra playing time. Quarterback keeper goes nowhere. As we roll through the 2-minute break, Blanchewicz back on the field here for Kent State, so that is good news for the young fella. The quick pass outside will lose a yard. Stockstill with his 2nd tackle this drive. Sets up 3rd and 12. Little running back motion out. As Jones will then just look to tuck and run, carrying through contact to the 23. A poor angle there from Brown. Gave a few more yards there to Jones, but so far not seeing a whole lot of help from this 2nd-team defense as Stockstill gives up the pass. Pretty used to seeing him last year give up deep balls. That time the curl found the success. Inside a minute to play here and looking for 1 touchdown on the day. Jones throws outside and it's broken up. That was Butler, the safety, who came over to make the play. 2nd and 10. Still at the 12 here and flooding the right side of the field. This time caught. Broncos down to the 6. They'll have a little bit more time left here, but Metele's going nowhere. And that will ultimately be the final play of the game here. Kent State dominates the first 3 quarters, 7-10, then 21 to put the game away. Smith was nearly at 200 yards rushing, $177 on the ground. He'll take the player of the game here, game 1. But we still have another one to go against Ball State. But before we can get to senior day, we welcome in a future freshman in tight end out of Cleveland, Tennessee, Rodney Lupke. But before we head into the final home game of your regular season, we've got some names to thank. And it starts with Colin Gill, the highest overall player here of Kent State. The redshirt senior transferred in at safety. Joquez Smith, who's off on a tear here, his one and only year at Kent State. Quinton Reddish transferring in this year, an 87 overall safety. Tank Hawkins, who's been the man for us for the last 2 seasons. He shed Scott, another transfer in the secondary. Elijah Fall, a transfer in on the defensive line. And he's been a tear this year for us. Jeff Mahoney, he's been here since day 1. We'll see if he comes back. He might not, so we're going to honor him today despite the red shirt. Syed Abu Hamday, another day 1 man for us. Britton Bush, another transfer for the defensive line. Jacob Ulrich, transfer punter. Cecil Wilson, he's been here for a couple seasons. Tommy Arnold, he's been getting a few more looks this year as the senior tight end. And Angelo Stockstill, your starting slot corner. This has been a special group of seniors trying to elevate us to the next level. And with a win against Ball State, that group will lock in our back-to-back MAC title appearance. The Bowling Green, who we have next episode, our rivalry to close out the regular season, might turn into a doubleheader of its own for that MAC title. So as we welcome the Redbirds from Ball State, let's put forth our best performance, send our seniors out in glory, and mark our way to the MAC title game. This time looking to seal our fate as the best in the MAC and potentially see what offers roll in from higher tier conferences. And what better way to honor the seniors than under the lights with the light blue unis and the senior in Ulrich with the boot as senior day underway against Ball State. And they'll be starting back at the 18. No fancy uniform for coach in this one, still rocking the cutoff, but he has his nice shorts on. Perhaps we'll see him break out the tie for the MAC championship game, but we still got a couple more games to get through before then. Starting here with Ball State on offense, and speed goes for just 5. And despite the change last episode to the edge rusher, no sacks recorded last episode with a quick pass here and bouncing off a weak tackle. Good pickup for Ball State, has them now to around the 40-yard line. But Ingold did have a few tackles for a loss last episode, so still seeing some impact there from the edge rush spot. Though does not contain here speed to the outside. He's got the first down and a few extra. Mark that about a gain of 13. And into plus side goes Ball State as they go a little bit of some play action, and it's blocked by the shoulder of the right tackle. Ryan Staub, quarterback here for Ball State. Can't be too happy about that. Give a little bit of credit to Ingold driving back the tackle into that passing lane. And it's a really bad play on the outside from the cornerback spot. Gill has to make up for it. Right now, Staub has the 4-7 Ball State offense rolling down the field. Though well clogged up there, Syed Abuhamde. He'll look to get credit there for that tackle, but really he just shoved back the guard. Good tackle there, pure McFarland. They finally force a third down here against the Cardinals. Staub throws, and breaking 2 tackles, it's a touchdown for Ball State. What a statement of an opening drive, taking on number 17, Kent State. But Dayton Howard, with the second and third effort, just encapsulates that drive. And once again, it's just horrific pass defense that sees the opposition find their way downfield. Mason Kelsey in the offense going to have to make up for it. And that's something we know they can do, starting with that triple option. It's a little bit backwards, but Smith has no problem. He weaves by the 50, the 40, good angle, and he's caught at the 30. But what an answer for a play that did not start well with that quick pressure. And that does put Smith over 1,000 rushing on the season. What a first run for the senior back. And if you tack that one on to his previous day, he would have had 200. Dupree checks in for him here, a little bit of a breather. And he runs left side for about 2. He hasn't necessarily had the most open lanes this year at that running back spot. We'll see what the plan is for him into next season. Rolling out here will be a dump off to Dupree. He will spin forward for the first. There are a couple running back recruits on the radar for Coach Ty, a couple late additions to that group, as Kelsey just gets by, throws this one into a tight window. It looks like they're actually going to say that one was a catch, gain of 9. I believe that was tight end 3. We'll have to check the depth chart for the name there after this play. But Tank Hawkins out in space just uses that speed to pick up the first down as Darren Stray down on the field here for Kent State, the transfer in at right tackle. Well, that was Sammy Magnum, the tight end, who had that nice grab, setting up that play for Tank Hawkins. First and goal here. They do go with a quick flip, and it will be another easy touchdown for Joquez Smith. Hacking on points and tying the game here in Kent State. They're going to need a little bit more there from their defense, but the offense answers with triple options, RPOs, and a couple other plays sprinkled in. Well, it looks like we might have a similar game to Eastern Michigan a couple games ago. The defense did struggle against the pass early on. Good tackle there is Stockstill. Howard not able to break away that time, had the touchdown on the previous drive after 2 broken tackles. They get motion here, stop with that play action and throws out to the flat. And getting a whole lot more than what he should be. Some poor tackling attempts, tackling angles, whatever it be. Poor in the tackle and in the coverage so far today for Kent State's defense. And Ball State's going to try to abuse it with another first down catch. Give at least some credit there to Gill. He laid out trying to jar that one free. He just couldn't. So 1st and 10 here, facing the blitz. Staub throws short on a tight end screen. And that's the exact kind of impact Coach Ty is looking for. Getting some more pass rush, just disrupt some passing windows, something the team hasn't necessarily done. Good job there in run defense. The seniors in Bush and Ball combine for the loss. And what could be the final play here of the quarter, it is to Howard. Taken down with a 4th and 7. You would imagine it would be a field goal to open up the second quarter, but the end of the first arrives and we are tied up here 7-7. Good rushing success for both sides. Miles Speed does have that speed to hit the outside. Joquez Smith just an overall better running back, and Kent State is going to need him here today. As for the second time today, Ball State set to take the lead to open up the second quarter. A chip shot field goal. And it is inside that left upright. Ball State 10, Kent State 7. Well, with a pretty good return, we'll start our next drive at the 29. Just rolling through here. And the late pitch again, though, still going to find Smith with room on the outside, close to the first down. Mason Kelsey is running off the field right now. Not sure what the injury could be, but Young will have to come in and fill in his spot. We've seen him come in a couple times. It hasn't necessarily looked pretty. And Smith with no room on second. So a 3rd and 1 then it'll be following the loss of about half a yard. Bunch look to the right-hand side. They hand it off to Smith, and he will get the job done. By all early indications here, they're going to have to rely heavily on Smith in this one. Kelsey still on the sideline without his helmet. Young with a quick pitch. He's got Smith, and another first down run. Trying to clinch your division title berth. This is not the game you want your starting quarterback to leave, but ultimately, that's not really your choice. Things happen. You got to overcome, and that's what Kent State's going to have to do today. As Young will just scramble here, picking up some blocks downfield all the way to the 31. Goes the transfer quarterback 2. Now, he has had very little time with these starters, so we'll see if that has much of an impact on what he is able to do and not do out there. As he overthrows Tank Hawkins. You could tell he was trying to get him to slow down, angle up field where he would have been away from the defender, but still not on the same page. Not many reps shared between the two. As Young coughs up that ball, the man, the myth, and the legend in Smith recovers. Keeping us still in possession here down to the 25 with a 3rd and 4. It's Tank Hawkins' time on that quick flip. Couple blockers downfield. Tank can't get by the one defender. I'm sure Young will still take that play 9 times out of 10. First down, Kent State to the 14. Dupree, he's going to go in motion. And they will flip it out to him. Good flow from the linebacker will negate what could have been a big play. Instead, just a gain of 2 for the power back here at Kent State. As both backs stay on the field for 2nd and 8. Look to set up the screen. And a risky ricochet. Send that one right back into the gut of the defense, luckily falling to the turf. They had space on the outside for the screen, but sets up 3rd and 8 here. Tank Hawkins across the middle. This time, he is not overthrown. He has to go up and get it, and he brings down the lead for Kent State. 14-10, about midway through the second quarter. They need their defense to step it up here and give them a chance to extend that lead to 2 scores as Young tosses his first passing touchdown with the starters. And Tank Hawkins, after the 3-and-out from the defense, we'll just take it to the end zone himself. We don't even need the offense out there or the backup quarterback in Young. Job done, 21-10. And that was the exact kind of impact Coach was looking for in putting Hawkins as the return man. The defense is not following suit with a great drive, allowing Ball State back into the red zone here or thereabout. With under 2 minutes to play, this one is lofted and thrown away. And that's a waste of a play as Staub had a receiver out there with space. 2nd and 10. They do look to go back to the passing game here with a throw. Just absolutely threading it, but the ball popped free, but no problem. Howard then recovers in the end zone as he wasn't going to make it there initially. What a throw from Staub, and what a way to stay with it. Dayton Howard with 2nd touchdown of the day. Getting that between the linebacker and the corner. Reddish popped it free, but none of the 3 defenders in the area could recover. However, they're going to take a second look here as they're not sure if that was truly a fumble. Now, Howard did still come up pretty close to the end zone, but looks to be down with possession about an inch or two short. So overturning that call, no touchdown, and it's a 1st and goal. Though getting heavy with the blitz, it makes it an easy pitch to the outside for a short touchdown. Ball State hacks back into this one, 21-17 as KJ Parker with the RPO touchdown. And with limited time, a minute 35, we'll see what Young can do as it seems Mason Kelsey's day is done. Young will step up here, looking to pick up a block there, and does have the 1st down that will pause the clock as the offense gets back to it here. At the 35-yard line, they are reset and that clock is rolling. Bunch right-hand side. And open, they have a target. That is Hassman, who nearly cut back to the right-hand side, decided to stay left side to the opposite 45. Now, they do still have about a minute to play with here. 3 timeouts. They're now plus side. Young with a good start to this drive, and he's got Tank Hawkins letting him run underneath this one for the touchdown. And that was about a 7 to 10 yard gap between Tank Hawkins and the closest defender. All he did was run straight downfield, and they could not keep up with him. Young putting that one on the money for Tank Hawkins' speed to run under it without having to slow down. And we will take it to the break from there. Starting quarterback Mason Kelsey out the remainder of this game. Young's having to step in. He's had a couple good flashes, delivered that deep ball to Tank Hawkins, but right now Joquez Smith has been the man for this team, recovering a fumble there from Young as well. They'll look to lean on the senior heavily in the second half. A 28-17 game, tighter here against the Cardinals than expected. But that is all thanks to Staub in the passing game of Ball State. Showing up big here. Meanwhile, the pass rush has been essentially non-existent for the Golden Flashes. And Howard is taking well advantage of that downfield. As we turn to the second half here. Starting at the 24 is Young and Kent State's offense. A chance here to extend their lead. And Young will take this one forward for 9.5. Not necessarily a good marking there from the referees. Going to make Kent State very much earn this one as Smith gets north and has the 1st down by the 40. That has him at 80 yards on the day here. Now we do see Young barking out some calls out there. He might see something he likes. Taking advantage of some press coverage, perhaps on the outside. Sending Tank Hawkins downfield. He just lets this one rip as Hawkins is under it. Not a touchdown this time, but a big shot downfield. He's your Biletnikoff winner from last year. Not as high in the rankings for it this year as expected, despite closing in on that 1,000 yards. He gets the ball here quick on almost just a pure handoff backwards. Jukes by 2 and picks up a good gain of 8. Very much a threat with the ball in his hands. We'll see what his next level aspirations end up panning out to be. But a 2nd and 2. They still flip it to Smith, taking on the defender. And there'll be no gain for him on the play, just back to the line. So 3rd and 2. Hassman in motion. They're going with a weak side speed option toward quarterback power. Wouldn't say that necessarily panned out for him. So 4th and 3. Smith and Dupree are in the backfield. Hands it off to Dupree and is short. Norton, the center, tried to pull but did not get out in front to pick up that block. Big stop here from the Cardinals. Play one and fire quickly. Scott has to chase down the receiver. One play near disaster for Kent State. Ball State going full at it here with the 17th rank. Kent State golden flashes, and it's through the quick pass game. But frankly, they've also had plenty of time for some deep passing in this one as well. Staub, empty set here. As he's going to go with the quarterback power. He's got some space. He'll have to flip those hips, and eventually in comes Scott to force the slide. What a game for Staub here today. As he'll go back to the air, but overthrows. A rare miss. 19 of 26 through the air so far today. More quick play action. Howard taking a couple shots for Kent State. That's a big tackle. It forces a third down here. 3rd and 9. Two spread either side. As they hand this one off, Hill helps slow down the running game and for others to come back to help tackle Miles' speed. And it sets up a field goal here, trying to make this an 8-point ball game. From about the left hash. And sneaks by that left upright. We've got a 28-20 ball game here in your third quarter. Kent State Senior Day. The seniors might need to turn things up a bit. At the same time, this does give you a great showing of what Young can do here. If Mason Kelsey ever happens to need to leave a game, can he get the job done? Well, it's a late pitch. Smith with a good block there from Tank Hawkins is almost back to the line of scrimmage. They do lose to play one. Risky pitch there from the quarterback who throws outside. That's Arnold, the senior tight end. He at least sets up a more manageable third down here, needing 7. They try the hard count, no one jumps. Carrion going to shuffle in a little bit as they'll look for him on a crosser. It's left open for him. He's catching it on the run by the 50, the 40, incoming defender. And that ball popped free as he was headed out of bounds at the 28. But if you've got a little extra room towards the sideline there, that could have been a huge play for Ball State. Instead, stays in the hands here at Kent State, facing prevent defense. This play action, rolling outside, and Young will just have to get rid of that one. Someone might need to tell him it's perfectly fine to stay in the pocket. He doesn't have to run out on every single one. Now the 28-yard line here, a minute 28 to go in the third quarter. They are back to throwing that ball. It's Smith, and he's got a few. The senior with a catch on the day here as well in a non-screen format. Leaves 7 needed. And will be a free play. Young does get someone to jump off sides, but he throws Tank Hawkins with a little bit of some space and the spin move for the emphatic end to the drive. You can decline that penalty, and you could go up 15 points here late in the third. That is a huge answer from Young in the offense. And ultimately sends us to the end of the third. Up 15 points here, but Ball State has been making things a little bit shaky for the 17th ranked Kent State. 9-1, they're looking to clinch their spot in the title game here today. They need a win on Senior Day. But Ball State is trying to disrupt that path as we start the fourth quarter. We are on offense, and it's going to be Young taking that triple option. Left side doesn't look like he's running extremely hard, but he picks up a solid gain of 7. Now leaves 2nd and 3 with that play clock running down here. Kent State trying to waste a little bit of time. Smith with the back cut's got the first. He continues to just be the team's main option here, especially with Mason Kelsey out injured. Still seen some big plays though from Tank Hawkins. As they look for him here, crossing the middle of that defense, he runs by 4 different Ball State defenders, picking up about 15. 168 yards for him on the day as well. He's still getting well involved here with a backup quarterback in. As Smith follows his blocks, and he's got the touchdown, widening that lead here to open up the fourth quarter. Kent State looking to pull away as they climb up by 22, dropping the 40 bomb here on the Cardinals. And you got to feel a little bit bad for Ball State. Because the way their offense has played today, if they had a little bit more success with their defense, they could be making big things happen right now. Especially with a connection here between Staub and Howard. They've been lighting up this defensive secondary. Lofted passes outside and nearly picked off. Scott jumped a little bit late there. If he got up a little bit earlier, that might have been a pick in the back of the end zone. Quarterback keeper Staub cuts inside, and he's got a touchdown for Ball State. All-out effort for the Cardinal offense in this one. Unfortunately, the defense just has not been able to pick up enough stops, even with the backup quarterback in for Kent State. And with a failed onside, now we could just look to run some clock. 2nd and 7 here. It is Dupree straight forward for about half the yardage needed. And that'll be leaving 4 here on 3rd down. I-form. Tank Hawkins going to shuffle in here. As they fake it down the middle, they go Tank Hawkins outside. He's got the 1st down, spin move, and he's back into the end zone. Tank Hawkins stacking it on here late, trying to ensure that we have indeed that emphatic senior day dub. And indeed, that will be your final score, 49-26. Kent State could have went for 2 there to try to drop the 50 bomb. But Tank Hawkins on his senior day, 9 catches, $188, a multitude of touchdowns, and that is with Young having to step in at quarterback. And if it wasn't for some lackluster defensive play, this would have been an emphatic early finish with how much the offense was flying down the field, finding big plays through the running game, the passing game, short, deep, and medium passing. And Coach Ty will continue landing recruits, this time getting the free safety in Ladarius Cheeks from American Fork, Utah. A 3-star added to the DB group that today clearly needs some help. But the offense looked great, and Tank Hawkins will be taking home the MAC Offensive Player of the Week. We saw the stats earlier, and those same stats are even better for National Offensive Player of the Week. But talking about recruits committing, we do find out that Marlon Averill, the athlete dual threat quarterback, does commit to Texas Tech. Now, that was expected. We hinted at there being some other options we were looking at, and we also were looking at some other quarterback options. Kevon Fair was a quarterback that we had scouted earlier this season. We moved off of because we didn't like that deep ball accuracy. But frankly, we've seen low deep ball accuracy for Mason Kelsey, for Drew DeShields, and we've had some pretty good deep balls, especially with Tank Hawkins. Now, he will be graduating, so who knows what receiver these quarterbacks are going to be throwing to. But Kevon Fair is back on the board here. He's got solid enough speed, solid enough throw power, and right now we're up to 1st. We're also trying to get in on Miles Cheeseman, but it looks like we're going to need to up the ante here as some other teams are also coming in. So we'll see if we can keep ourselves in this race long enough to get into the offseason in which we can continue going after him, because he is a gem. He does have a little bit less throw power, but the short medium accuracies are a lot higher, a lot more even than Fair. The deep accuracy, though, a little bit more concerning, sub 60, but he is faster. So we have some decent options here down the board. TCU, though, is now starting to go after him. But if we can get this into the offseason, a lot of teams stop recruiting high school guys. Coach Ty might take a different approach, and that would be not from the couch. Adonis Couch, though, we are trying to bring in an east-west playmaker from Del Valle, Texas. 89 speed. A lot of the running backs we were looking at had 85 to 80 speed. So trying to bring in someone with a little bit more oomph behind, like Smith, who has played very well for us in this scheme. He's got to work on the juke, the spin, the ball carrying skills, but ultimately, you can't teach speed. He's got that. So we're going to try to bring him in. He's being a bit stingy. We're also looking at some linebackers. Anthony Butts, the lurker linebacker, we've jumped up to the top of his board. Also looking at Yaboa. He's also being a little bit stingy here. So we'll look to add on some points as we do have some extra points to spend at this point in time. Now, there is one race for someone we have been going after that is pretty tight here. We'll see if we can land the Baton Rouge Gem Corner before this regular season comes to an end. We're inside the top 3. UAB, they're just constantly peeking over our shoulder. We would like to separate. We're doing well with Dexter Wilkins, trying to bring in some offensive line talent, and Dickerson as well, doing mighty fine for him. Scales has constantly kind of gone back and forth of whether he wants to be interested in us or not, so I'm not going to put much points in. If ultimately he decides to come here, no one else recruits him, fine by me. But next time up, we have our rivalry game, and that will be a full game all onto itself, just as long as it's not going to be a doubleheader with both games against Bowling Green, because they did not lose this last game. They are still 6-1. If we beat them, we'll have to check in here on a head-to-head perhaps against Toledo. And Toledo did beat Bowling Green. So if we take down our rival in the regular season finale, it looks like Toledo would be the team we'd be facing in the MAC title game. But we'll find out next time if we can take out our rival and keep them from a title game and keep our MAC record perfect on the season, heading into the postseason, or we might find ourselves perhaps back into conversation for that 12 seed, as it stands right now, Kent State, even though we are 16th ranked, currently hold that 12th seed if the playoffs were to start today. So make sure you are here for our regular season finale. Hit the bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down and hit that sub button. It's completely free to you. Just helps YouTube know, hey, I want to watch this content, and gives it to you a whole lot easier. You could also let me know if you're enjoying it by smashing that thumbs up button to make sure you don't miss this series or the Giant series or any other video that we put forth. Make sure you're also hitting that bell notification button as well so you get notified. It's quite obvious how that works, as it's called bell notification. But we will see you next time, taking on our rival, regular season finale, for a chance to knock out our rival from postseason.